could disappear. I knew BlackBerry programmers were making $100,000. Them dudes don't exist anymore, right? Get hacked. We got 34 million records. You get credit monitoring at $100 a record. That's $3.4 billion if we get hacked. If we got to give credit monitoring, so I can't make a mistake. Well, I can, but I'm gonna get fired, right? Because I tell them I'm about the security life. If you make a mistake in cybersecurity, depending on where you at, that can cost a company $1 billion with the big B.
All the time, man. And I've been on them calls where I was working for I was a lead for MSS one time, and I jumped on the call. It was like my manager was like, "Hey, so and so got hit by ransomware." So I'm in the call, and they were running around like chickens with their head cut off. Nobody knows what's going on. Disorganized. They didn't work on no contingency plans. I was like, and so and that's another thing. Everybody want to do the wild west stuff in cyber, not realizing that policy based stuff in writing, it's a bag there and it's important.
Oh yeah. It was on your show. The guy with the hat. Y'all were talking GRC.
AJ.
That's how I make my first big bag on that GRC. So yeah, facts, man.
Yeah, man. So that's why every time my goal with this channel, one is exposure, 2 to educate, and 3 just to give it to you straight. You know, because you can go everywhere else, but when you come here, you're like, you know what? Hey, I might not like what he say, but you know what? He keeping it real with us right now, because you ain't gonna get it real like that from some people who just want your money. Right. For me, I want you to pay me for my services, but at the end of the day, I'd rather not work with you if you want me to lie to you. I'll hold you accountable. If you ain't working hard, please. I'm like, I could show your coworker right now, or people, they say, man, you always busy. I say, yeah, I'm studying. Like right now, I ain't even got a chance to really do the last, but Azure 900, just learning a little bit more about Azure, this content stuff, other stuff that I got in the works. So yeah, man, but that Oracle, man, so were they public by that time or what?
Oh yeah, they public, and they was just getting big government contracts, because they were really doing government work before AWS, because AWS is not even started yet. So Oracle had all the government work, because government's got all this things you need to do with encryption, FIPS 140-2, DR. Oracle had all that stuff from the federal side, so they would just print money on the Oracle database.
Because I'm thinking like somebody invested in them back then, man. They got some bread.
Oh, they did, but they fell off a little bit because they didn't see the cloud coming. Larry Ellison called AWS a toy at first when it first came out, because they had it, they were the big Billy on the yard, so they didn't think AWS was serious. They were the big boy on the yard.
Yeah.
So.
I think that's what tends to always happen when there's a shift. I think what's taught me about how, because I have people ask me all the time, like in comments, something, hey, Don, do you ever get bored of this and that? I was like, no, because it's always a different threat, or I'm learning something new. This isn't most of the time, you get the job where it's just super mundane and you start doing the same thing over and over again, which is one of the reasons why I chose it. And when I tell people, like, knowing your why for, wanting to get in is another thing that's going to help you with longevity in the game. But being adaptable, that's probably one of the biggest traits and skill sets that you can have as an employee, but also if you're a business owner. We had so many great companies that didn't adapt. I mean, honestly, I kind of want stuff a little bit to go back just a tad bit to the old days, because I don't mind going to Blockbuster or Video One, to go pick up some videos, because that was family time. But a lot of people like the convenience of the, I think the writing was on the wall when they ain't really give Netflix any mind, because when Netflix started saying, hey, pay this thing a month, you can send this back whenever you want to, that was the game changer. Blockbuster and them say, hey, you only got a week. And then they started renting out games, and then GameFly was out there. And so all these different things was coming, and nobody told them, hey man, maybe we should start doing this. We got the money now, we can spend the money and we can still be relevant. Or
the crazy thing is, Google it. Netflix went to Blockbuster and tried to sell it to itself to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster said, "Nah, y'all playing."
Right, and because anybody could have saw back then. Granted, internet connections weren't super fast or whatever, but you had to see the way that technology was going. That this is something that would be lucrative. Just like all the phone makers laughed at Steve Jobs when they talk about that iPhone. Mm-hmm. Now look at them. Some of them guys ain't even making phones no more. And if they is, they just making certain things on the phone. Because back they had what? All the phones back then. You had your Windows phone, you had your BlackBerry. Because back then HTC was a major player. I would say HTC. Samsung had like the Blackjacks and stuff. I remember it was a good time for choice, but some of them guys didn't adapt good. Motorola, I mean, they make phones here and there. But yeah, shoot, I just thought about my last episode when I was talking about, my first time ever hearing about BES, BlackBerry Enterprise Server, or good for mobile. Like, pretty much it's stuff that if people actually go and research, I don't know if people still use good for mobile. I know there's still people using what's the thing called Iron Mail or whatever it's called.
Mobile Iron.
Mobile Iron, like all little technologies like that, somebody can actually niche down and learn about and have a job just supporting that, or just being an admin of it. So it's a million ways to skin a cat. You just got to find somebody that's going to show you how to do it. But let's see, you said 11 years. So the Oracle was still the 90s. What I'll frame it like this. What are some things that you noticed changing from, like, I guess I ain't never really said like the old millennium, but old millennium to like the new millennium. Like, I guess as computing power started to double and change, and also internet started to get faster. So you were actually in this field in real time dealing with all this stuff. And how was that? How did you? Are there people that didn't adapt? And then they kind of just stuck now. And then, like, how was that? Did they ever come? You guys say, "Y'all better come learn this, and this," or I'm just gonna let you rock with like some of the questions I asked.
No, that's fine. No, but yeah, the thing you just said is the phones, right? When you first phones, it was the pager than the phone. Now look at where we now, where you got apps on the phone. In the 90s, weren't really people thinking of apps. The killer app is what you just talked about. Was the BlackBerry, because the BlackBerry had the email app. So you see all executives now. You got all the apps on your phone, right? So the transition is really from beepers to you got more power than what they launched the rocket with in the 60s, right? So the power you have, people didn't realize GPS used to cost. You used to put these discs in your trunks. Now you got Google Maps that tell you for free. It's hard to be free, your phone. I mean, people used to carry boom boxes. Now you carry your phone with your headset. So just the transition of the phone. The technology, you got to think, I was from the mainframe. Then it went to client server where you put all your apps actually on a PC. Then it went mini computer with Oracle. Now it's in the cloud, right? So I knew mainframe guys that couldn't master relational. I was laughing at those guys because I was like, relational's easy. The mainframe guys was like, man, I can't understand it. I don't get it. So some of those guys just faded away, right? Because everything relational. Now some of the mainframe guys still working, right? There's a few mainframes out there. They make a ton of money. Then we went client service to relational, right? It was like, okay, we ruling mini computer. Then we went back to everything on the PC. Then we went back to mini computer. Now we going, everything is in the cloud, which really is a mainframe. They just split up to me in the cloud, right? It looks like one box a lot of times when you look at them, right? Everybody's VMing boxes. I call it the mainframe. Y'all just VMing it to death, right? So that's a 8-year transaction. And there's a lot of people that make that leap, because when I went from relational to object-oriented trying to do Java, I was like, I apologize to all the mainframe people because I was struggling at first because it was just such a paradigm shift going to object-oriented. So if you don't keep up with technology, you could disappear. I knew BlackBerry programmers were making $100,000. Them dudes don't exist anymore, right?